No one expected to see her like that, the woman everyone admired, feared, and respected. The woman who was known in every business magazine as the youngest self-made CEO in the city. Yet there she was, trembling in the corner of a hospital hallway, clutching the side of a chair as if it was the only thing keeping her standing. Her eyes, usually sharp and commanding, were filled with tears that refused to be hidden anymore. And in that moment, someone unexpected stepped forward. A man with weary eyes but a gentle strength about him. He wasn't dressed in suits, nor did he carry the air of power that she was used to. Instead, he carried something far more rare in her world, genuine warmth. He was a single dad, holding his little daughter's hand, and somehow, despite his own struggles, he stopped for her. But before we dive into how their lives collided in a way that neither of them expected, let me ask you, if you've ever believed in second chances, in the power of kindness, and in the way strangers can change everything, stay with me until the end. Because this story will remind you of something we all forget, that even the strongest people sometimes need someone to lean on. And if this story touches you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, so we can keep bringing you stories that touch the heart and soul. The story began months earlier. Clara Mitchell, yes, the Clara Mitchell, had built an empire before turning 35. People envied her, gossiped about her, and sometimes even hated her, but they couldn't deny her brilliance. She ran a company worth billions, making decisions that others could only dream of. Yet for all the noise and luxury around her, Clara lived in silence. No family, no partner, no children. Just endless boardrooms and hotel suites that felt more like cages than homes. Her loneliness had grown so thick it started seeping into her health. Panic attacks became routine. Nights passed without sleep. And though she smiled at the cameras, inside, she was unraveling. The breaking point came when her mother, the only person she could still call family, was admitted to the hospital after a sudden stroke. Clara rushed there, but when the doctors said the words, critical condition, her strength cracked. For the first time in her life, the woman who never begged anyone for anything whispered through tears, "Please, don't leave me here alone." She said it to her mother, but her mother couldn't hear her anymore. That's when Daniel entered the story. A single dad in his early 40s, Daniel was a man who had already lived through storms. His wife had passed away during childbirth, leaving him to raise their daughter, Emma, on his own. Life was never easy, and Daniel worked 2 jobs just to make ends meet. He didn't have millions, but he had something Clara didn't, Emma's smile waiting for him at the end of every hard day. That night, Emma tugged at her father's hand as they walked down the hospital hallway. She noticed Clara crying on the chair. "Daddy," she whispered, "that lady looks so sad." Children see things adults often overlook. Daniel hesitated for a moment, but then, he stepped forward. He crouched slightly, his voice low but steady. "Ma'am, are you all right?" Clara looked up, startled. She wasn't used to strangers speaking to her without an agenda. For a moment, she almost dismissed him, but something in Emma's innocent eyes made her stop. They weren't judging her. They weren't expecting anything. They just cared. And so Clara let the wall down just a little. She admitted that her mother was dying, that she felt like a child again, terrified of being left in the world with no one. Daniel didn't offer money, contacts, or empty platitudes. He simply sat down beside her and said, "You're not alone. At least not tonight." That was the start of something neither of them anticipated. In the days that followed, Daniel and Emma visited the hospital regularly. Emma would bring little handmade cards for Clara's mother, even though she was unconscious. Daniel would bring Clara coffee and remind her to eat. For someone who had people working under her 24/7, it was strangely humbling to have this simple, ordinary man notice her as a human being and not as the CEO. But Clara's pride wasn't easy to break. She tried pushing him away, telling herself she didn't need anyone, that she was too busy, too strong. Yet every time Daniel stepped back, Emma would run to Clara with her wide eyes and say, "Don't be sad, Miss Clara. You can sit with us." And each time, Clara's heart softened a little more. Eventually, Clara started opening up. She confessed how exhausting it was to always be the strong one. She shared how terrified she was of waking up one day with no one by her side, no one to even know she was gone. And for once, she wasn't judged for being vulnerable. Daniel listened, really listened, and when he spoke, his words weren't polished, they were real. It's okay to be strong at work and soft at home. Everyone deserves someone who knows their heart. Over time, Clara found herself drawn not just to Daniel's strength, but to the way he fathered Emma, with patience, humor, and love. It stirred something in her she didn't even know she wanted, the longing for a family, for connection. But of course, life tested them. When Clara's mother eventually passed away, she spiraled into grief. Her instinct was to push everyone away, including Daniel. She told him he didn't understand her world, that he couldn't possibly fit into it. Daniel, hurt but calm, replied, "Maybe not your world, Clara. But I can fit into your heart, if you let me." It took Clara weeks of silence, reflection, and lonely nights to realize the truth. Money, power, success, none of it mattered if she had no one to share it with. And in the middle of that realization, she remembered the night in the hose.